Hi everyone, my name is Mr. Watson and welcome to the Waistcoat Watson YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking through 5 key quotations spoken by Lady Macbeth in Shakespeare's tragic play, Macbeth. Come you spirits, that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Act 1, Scene 5. After reading a letter from Macbeth in which he tells her about the prophecies of the witches, Lady Macbeth becomes ambitious and determined to see her husband become king. In this monologue, Lady Macbeth is asking the spirits to remove her feminine qualities and fill her with the cruelty and the determination needed to carry out the murder of King Duncan. Some of the themes that are explored in this quotation are ambition, gender roles, moral decay, and the supernatural. In terms of the writer's methods, the imagery used in this quotation is that of spirits or supernatural forces that can be called upon to aid Lady Macbeth in her plan. She is asking these spirits to unsex her, meaning that she wants them to remove her feminine qualities and fill her with direst cruelty so that she can be strong enough to carry out the murder of Duncan. The use of personification, by addressing the spirits as if they were sentient beings, gives them a supernatural quality and also gives a sense of Lady Macbeth's willingness to use any means necessary to achieve her goals. The phrase "from the crown to the toe, top full" is an example of hyperbole, or hyperbole, depending on who you ask. It emphasises the extent to which Lady Macbeth wants to be filled with cruelty. It exaggerates the idea that she wants to be completely consumed by it. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. Act 1, Scene 6. In this scene, Lady Macbeth is telling Macbeth that in order to not be suspected of murdering King Duncan, he must make sure that he acts in a very specific way. She is urging Macbeth to appear innocent and harmless on the outside like a flower, but to be cunning and deceitful like a serpent on the inside. The themes explored with this quotation are ambition, gender roles, deception, and manipulation. When looking at the writer's methods used in this quotation, we have the metaphor of the innocent flower and the serpent under it, which is used to describe the contrast between appearance and reality. The flower represents Macbeth's innocent external appearance, while the serpent represents his true internal, sinister nature and ambition. The flower is often associated with purity and goodness, and the serpent with evil and deceit. This highlights the contrast between Lady Macbeth's appearance and her true intentions, and the fact that she wants to hide her true self and present an innocent facade. The quotation also foreshadows the idea that the couple will use deceit and manipulation to further their ambition, and it raises questions as to whether or not they will be true to themselves or give in to their quest for power. Screw your courage to the sticking place and will not fail. Act 1, Scene 7. In this scene, Lady Macbeth is trying to convince Macbeth to go through with their plan to kill King Duncan. Macbeth is having doubts and is worried about the consequences of the murder, but Lady Macbeth is determined to see their plan through to the end. Lady Macbeth is trying to encourage Macbeth to stay focused and determined, and to not let his fears or doubts get in the way of their goal. The themes explored here are ambition, gender roles, determination, and manipulation. The metaphor of screwing your courage to the sticking place is used to describe the act of fortifying one's courage. The metaphor implies that courage is something that needs to be tightened, like a screw, in order to hold it in place. She is demanding that Macbeth tighten his own courage in the face of his fears. The fact that Lady Macbeth uses an imperative here conveys that she holds the power and authority over her husband in this conversation, something that would have been shocking for audiences of the time, as it would be the man who would be expected to have the authority, power, and control over his wife. This inversion of the traditional stereotypical gender roles of the time can also be seen clearly in a previous quotation in which Lady Macbeth is asking the spirit to unsex her. The repetition of the hard S sound in the phrase, "screw your courage to the sticking place," creates a sense of determination and toughness that reflects the tone of the character and her command over Macbeth. This sound also links to those of a serpent, linking back to the earlier quotation about deception and manipulation. A little water clears us of this deed. Act 2, Scene 2. Spoken by Lady Macbeth after Macbeth has killed King Duncan and is struggling to cope with the guilt and shame of his actions. Lady Macbeth is trying to reassure him that their crime is nothing more than a small and insignificant event that can be easily washed away. She's also trying to convince him that there is no need to feel remorse for their actions and that they will not be held accountable for what they've done. The themes explored in this quotation are ambition, power, guilt, and moral decay. The imagery used in this quotation is that of water, which is often associated with purification and cleansing. Lady Macbeth uses this imagery to suggest that washing their hands with water will rid them of the guilt and shame associated with the murder of Duncan. The use of the adjective little implies that she sees the act of murder as a small and insignificant event that can be easily washed away. The imagery of water also carries religious connotations when considering how it's used in Christian baptisms to purify an individual so that they can be reborn in the eyes of God. The irony in this quotation is that Lady Macbeth is trying to make the act of murder seem insignificant and easy to forget, whilst in reality, the guilt and shame of the murder will haunt her and Macbeth for the rest of the play. It's a reminder of how much she undervalued the moral implications of their actions and, by extension, the consequences that would follow. Out, damned spot! Out, I say! Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie! A soldier. And afeard? Act 5, Scene 1. Lady Macbeth speaks these lines while sleepwalking through Macbeth's castle on the eve of his climactic battle against Macduff and Malcolm. She used to have a stronger determination and ambition than her husband, and was the main instigator in the plan to murder Duncan. However, while she is sleepwalking, the true impact of her and Macbeth's actions on her mental state becomes strikingly clear. The themes explored with this quotation are, once again, ambition, power, guilt, and moral decay. The motif of washing one's hands is repeated once again with this quotation. Previously, when Macbeth thought his hands were permanently stained with blood, Lady Macbeth said to him, "A little water clears us of this deed." Now, she is the one tormented by guilt, and she has become insane as a result, seeing blood everywhere and being unable to wash it away. The imagery used in this quotation is that of a spot or a stain that Lady Macbeth is desperately trying to wash away. This can be interpreted as a metaphor for the guilt and shame that she feels for her role in the murders. The repetition of out emphasizes her desperation to rid herself of this stain. The phrase hell is murky is an allusion to the Christian concept of hell, which is often depicted as a dark and gloomy place. This allusion serves to further emphasize the intense guilt and despair that Lady Macbeth is feeling, as she believes that she will be damned to hell for her actions. The ironic statement, "a soldier and afeard," meaning afraid, highlights the contradiction between Lady Macbeth's earlier statements and her current state. Earlier in the play, she had goaded Macbeth into committing the murder of Duncan, insisting that he was a brave soldier who should therefore not be afraid. Now, however, she is consumed by fear and guilt herself to such an extreme that her own mind has broken. Okay, so that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that these 5 quotations from Lady Macbeth are useful to you. Of course, there are many other quotations from Lady Macbeth that didn't make this list, so if you know of any and you'd like to share your analysis of them in the comments, you are more than welcome to do so that you can help each other out. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.